stage. I'm going to do year 9 and year 10 because I've been a stage 5 teacher longer than I've been a stage 6 teacher. And I just know those programs better. So the first thing I do is I work out, I'm going to make a table, and I know that there's 7, 8. I know that there are going to be 8 terms. So 4 terms a year. If you're planning for 1 year, you just have 4 columns. But because I'm planning for 2 years, because I'm teaching 2 grades, I would plan 8 columns. And that would be the same if you've got a composite class in primary school. And basically the first step is to just work out what outcomes you've got. So what's a subject that would be relevant? Is English a good one?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to go and find the English outcomes on the curriculum. So English syllabus, New South Wales.
So you used your state curriculum, not the Australian curriculum?
Yeah, that depends on your school. Our school goes by the state curriculum.
Yep.
So I use that one. And yeah, so that's just following the direction of the school there. Now, because I might just see if I can download it, might be the quickest way to find the outcomes. So after you've got, the documents can be really annoying because they just generate sometimes a random page that doesn't give you anything. Description, descriptors, English K to 10. Let me see if it now lets me download.
Are you doing the year 11 and 12? Are you going to do a...
No, I'll do year 9 and 10 just because I've taught year 9 and 10 longer.
Okay, yeah. Is your year groups divided into stages? Is that what you meant with yours?
Yes. Sorry, I forgot you're in Victoria.
I'm in Western Australia.
Yes. So our curriculum is split up into stages. Kindergarten is early stage 1, year 1 and 2 is stage 1, then 3 and 4 is stage 2, 5 and 6 is stage 3. So year 9 and 10 is stage 5. So the first thing I do is look for the outcomes, which it says is on page 14. (17, 16, 15, 14). Okay, so I don't want stage 2, stage 5. So hopefully the formatting will be kind to me. No, it's not. I'm going to have to do it one by one. So I'll just do a few. Oh no, I may as well do edit that go.
That's what my brain is like.
Yeah, it's like I just had it open. Where did it go?
It's like I know you were somewhere.
Oh, there we go. It turned into a downloaded PDF thingy. So now each syllabus annoyingly can be a little bit different. In English, the thing that you look at is basically the number, just means what order it is, and the letter means a different kind of goal for the curriculum. So there's goal A, there's goal B. But mostly I'm just looking at the number for what I'm doing right now.
Yep.
And what I want to do is, instead of working out my content, the first thing I want to do is work out my assessment, because the assessment is showing you what the students know. And once you've worked out your assessment, then you create a teaching and learning program that enriches that assessment. And then number 9 is the reflection one. So now that I've got my outcomes, I look at 2022, term 1, 2022, term 2, 2022, term 3, 2022, term 4, 2023, term 1, 2023, term 2, and so on. And I've missed one, but that's okay. I'll fix that later. So from there, I think about what assessment is the best way to help me with an outcome. So I look at responds to and composes increasingly sophisticated and sustained text for understanding, interpretation, critical analysis, imaginative expression, and pleasure. So I think to myself, firstly, what's the parent-friendly version of this, so that parents understand what's going on when I do it in my reports? And what's the simple way of saying this outcome? So it's about responds to and composes are the two things that I'm having to come up with there. So I need to think of something that helps them respond and compose in an increasingly sophisticated way. And it needs to have interpretation, critical analysis, and imagination. So when I look at that, without thinking of any of the other requirements that you have in English, because there's a lot and it's confusing, I think, okay, how do I cover that? What sort of thing do I need to do to cover that? So I think to myself, I think that the best way to cover that is, let's say, an essay, because that's the responding and that's interpretation, critical analysis. And I think to myself, a short story, because that is the imagination and that is composing. And there's lots of things I could have done to make that happen. Then I look at the next outcome. Effectively uses and critically assesses a wide range of processes, skills, strategies, and knowledge for responding to and composing a wide range of texts in different media and technologies. So I think of that as a presentation. So you've got composing a wide range of texts. So a presentation is a text, and using different media and technologies, I'm thinking PowerPoint. Then I go on to the next one. Selects and uses language, forms, features, and structures of text appropriate to a range of purposes, audiences, and contexts, describing and explaining their effects on meaning. I'm thinking that again is very analytical. So I'm going essay. And I've already got essay here. Then I've got effectively transfers knowledge, skills, and understanding of language concepts into new and different contexts. So here you're now doing interpretation. So effectively transfers knowledge, skills, and understanding of language concepts into new and different contexts. So that could, sorry?
Could that be like a short story with dialogue in it?
Skills and understanding It could be language concepts into new and different contexts. It could also be a website, could be a short story, could be a website, that they build a website. Then thinks imaginatively, creatively, interpretively, and critically about information. So imaginatively, create complex information, ideas and arguments to respond and compose texts in a range of contexts. Oh, whoops, I've got two in a row there. And then investigates the relationships between and among texts. A lot of these, they could be multiple things. So investigates relationships between and among texts. I think a PowerPoint could work well there. And then I think that for critical, interpretively and critically about information, I don't want to put too much into an essay. So I need to think about whether that's better for an essay or better for something else. Critically about information and increasingly complex ideas and arguments. Maybe that's a website. And then understands and evaluates the diverse ways text can represent personal and public worlds. I've got PowerPoint twice, I've got website twice, I've got essay twice.
Maybe like a poster?
Oh yes, poster would be brilliant for that. So a poster can represent that for sure. Then questions, challenges, and evaluates cultural assumptions. A poster does that too. And then purposely reflects on, assesses, and adapts their individual and collaborative skills. So this one is reflection. We do that in every single assessment. Okay. So I'm going to put an X on every single assessment to say we're doing that all the time. So now that I've worked out, okay, I know the medium that I want for my assessment, from there, I then look at the subjects that are set. So when I was teaching stage 5, we had the subjects that we had to cover was that we did a fantasy study on genre. And that was, we looked at Narnia, Chronicles of Narnia. Then we did Shakespeare, which was an intro. So that was a historical investigation into all of the different plays, and it's kind of like an overview. Then we did a unit that I absolutely abhorred, which was landscape poetry. And I just thought that was for a group of students that are autistic, that was just not a great topic.
What does that even mean, landscape poetry?
You're making poems about mountains and landforms and rivers and nature.
So the poems came out very literal, did they?
So I changed this when I taught stage 5. I changed this to war poetry.
That's much better.
And the other name was War, What Is It Good For? And they loved it a lot more than landscape poetry.
I can imagine, especially if you're on the spectrum. I mean, how?
Yep. Yep.
Think that one through, did they?
No, they didn't. And then from there, I'm trying to remember the last one I did. Because I'm trying to think of what I did in year 9 for the year 9 year. It'll come to me as I go. So I then start to think about what's a good subject to start on, what's a good subject to end on. So Shakespeare is hard. So I used to do it in the shortest term, which was term 4, towards the end when they have the most skills. And we did Shakespeare twice. So Shakespeare intro for when we're doing the year 9 year,
Yep.
And Shakespeare, we flipped and flopped a little bit. I'll put down Romeo and Juliet. Now, because we have kids on the spectrum, the way we did Romeo and Juliet was we actually just did one scene in Shakespeare instead of doing the whole book. And we watched a movie. We watched the Baz Luhrmann version of it.
Yep.
But then for their assessment, we did a drama. So we got them to act out one scene. And we did the scene where there's the party scene where Romeo meets Juliet.
Through the fish tank.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And now what I would do, because I've had my initial thoughts, I thought, okay, I want to do for Romeo and Juliet, I want to do a play as the assessment. So I need to re-look through these and see, are any of these outcomes conducive with a play? So responds to and composes increasingly sophisticated and sustained texts. I think that could potentially be a play.
Or like you know how you had the one that had the
multimodal?
Multimodal, yeah.
Let me see. The media one, the one that was originally a website.
Yeah.
So, well, effectively uses and critically assesses a wide range of using different media and technologies. Yeah, I like that better. That works better. So you could do a play there, and then you're bringing in stuff like you could have some students filming, some students editing, and then you've got different roles.
Yep.
And then the other one was the one with the website, effectively transfers knowledge, skills, and understanding of language concepts to new and different contexts. I think that could work as a play as well. So from there, let's say I've decided to do a play. So I know that for term 4, the idea is to do a play, and I've already crossed off outcome number 2, and I've crossed off outcome number 4. And from here, it's a matter of juggling things around so that each outcome is covered. I would say you want to cover each outcome twice. And once you've got all your outcomes set, then you've got assessments that are in an order and in a structure that makes sense. So one of the assessments I would start with was fantasy, because I called it fantasy and sci-fi. And basically their assessment was to show me a presentation about their favourite television show.
Yeah.
Being students with autism, I got all these submissions about Doctor Who, Star Wars, and Adventure Time, and they absolutely loved it. So that ticked off my presentation goal, my presentation one. And where did I put the other presentation? The PowerPoint thinks imaginatively and creatively and interpretively. So this is giving me interpretation here. Then I think about what was the other units. The other unit we did was we did another unit that was more human rights based. So we did justice. And I actually did use justice for a poster. And I thought that justice was a good one for term 2 because term 2 is super long. And I would then mark out where I've got poster. So understands and evaluates diverse ways text can represent personal and public worlds. That's perfect for a unit on justice.
Yeah.
Then questions, challenges, and evaluates cultural assumptions. Again, that's perfect for justice. And basically, I just keep doing that as I fill in the topics that I've got.
Yep.
And by the end of it, I've got this map with X's across it, and I can see which outcomes are lagging, which outcomes I haven't covered enough, and which outcomes I have covered enough. Now, because I'm special ed, I'm only focusing on 2 outcomes per unit. In mainstream, you might do more than that.
Yep.
In primary school, you'd probably only do 2 outcomes, but once you get to high school, you'd probably get to 3 or 4. And then from there, I'm saying, okay, we're doing a unit on sci-fi. So I have to teach them the skills and strategies for responding to and composing a wide range of texts. So I need to help them know how to respond to a text. So one of the things that I just did this today, actually, getting them, prompting my